to introduce that name into the lexicon of a lot of people tonight who may not know. His name is DJ Smokey. And he had Smokey in, I believe it was the Master Plan. Smokey, the Smokatrons were his dancers, and the male dancers and the Luckatrons were his female dancers. Grandmaster Flash used to carry records for Smokey. I'm going to say that again. Grandmaster Flash, the legend he is, used to dance and carry records. As a matter of fact, he didn't. I spoke to Smokey for a half hour and picked his brain recently before I sat down to do this. So if anyone has any problems with what the next couple of things I'm about to say, you got to take that up with Smokey, who's willing to sit down with Herc and all of them and have a round table discussion to get that history correct. He was kind of wiped from the history because he went into the army at some point and, people sort of forgot about him. So Grandmaster Flash would sit and watch Smokey rock these turntables back and forth. Smokey had break beats also. And he battled Herc twice. And he said Herc beat him twice, but only on sound system. Smokey said he was more of a showmanship. He was more about performing, making people dance to certain things. He said Herc's cheat code was his sound system was massive. So if he drowned you out with the sound system, those of a lower vibration would go Herc 1. But Herc wasn't one of these. And he wasn't that. He would play the record. He would talk over the record. And, he had that massive echo chamber. Cool. Herc. And the Herculoids. Lloyds. You know what I mean? And that essence, when you come to the jam in the park. Now, I want to say this as well. I was 10 years old. So back then when I went, when I went to see the park, it looked massive. When I go to see the park now, it's small. So I have to use that as a point of reference so we know, like who Herc to me looked 9 feet as a kid. He's 6'4", but he looked 9 feet. Africa Bambaataa, my first experience seeing Africa Bambaataa, I was at the 9 projects on the west side, Webster Avenue, and everyone was having a good time, and he walked through, and he did like this, and he put his hand out, and the whole crowd on both sides parted ways, as if he was goddamn Moses. And I didn't say, who is that? I said, what is that? I said, hey, that's Africa Bambaataa. Zulu Nation. Ooh, my nigga, heart. Boom. Right? So, and now when I stand next to Bam or whatever, he's not that big. But I have to say that because your reference of these things may also cloud the judgment of things.
Definitely.
This is why I'm saying I'm not a historian. I am a mistorian.
Right.
Contact your local historian to see if this information is good for you. You were going to say something?
No, go ahead.
Okay. So, with that being said, Smokey and the Smokatrons would rock out. You know what I mean? I asked him about putting cardboard under the turntable so that they could spin back. And he said the reason he did it was because he said Herc had Technique turntables. He said DJ King Mario and other people, Pete DJ Jones, these guys may have had Techniques. He said he had Board of Education turntables, which means he probably stole them from out of the school or something. And they were very heavy and had these big rubbery mats on them, and you could never cue the record because what happens when you DJing, you can hold the record and the turntable will still spin forward. You know what I mean? Especially with the 1200 Techniques. But he had these turntables that didn't do that. So he had to get creative and take those rubber mats off. He said he even tried to put paper before he cut out the cardboard at the same width and shape of the turntable. But the paper and the cardboard created some electromagnetic friction. So you had to get rid of the paper, go with the cardboard, and now no matter what turntables he had, if he held the record, the cardboard would keep the turntable spinning forward. These were some of his techniques that obviously Flash was paying attention to. So when he went off to the army, wherever he went, he said he saw Flash overseas. When Flash first put out the message on one of them records, and Flash looked like he saw a ghost. I'm saying this because when Smokey shows up, either at the Hip Hop Museum or around these legends, he's like Kaiser Sosa. Because those who know, they know. So, and I say all of that to say, when you hear these stories of amazing things that people created, did they have a reference point? They all have something. Most of us had to see somebody do something before we advanced upon it. He did say this. He said he'll take nothing from Flash's ingenuity. He said he's a bad man. So I got to throw that into it. And I also asked him about Grand Wizard Theodore, who added to the scratch. He said, all true. Theodore took, because he learned under Flash and added his own essence to become the Grand Wizard that he is. And he also spoke highly of Herc. So I want to be clear, he wasn't bad-mouthing any of these, but he said when it's time to sit down and tell the story, it's time to correct the history. So we have a lot of, with the advent of the Hip Hop Museum coming, you're going to find people trying to push themselves or place themselves in higher regards because it could be money involved, stature involved, and things of that nature. Shout out DJ King Mario. Shout out Pete DJ